Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ASUS ROG Dream League Season 3 coverage on the casting panel with myself and Draskell. Of course, we're ready to get ourselves into the third game of this second series of the day between Game Online and Vega Squadron. And well, we're seeing the Magnus PA come out. First two picks, Draskell.
Yep. Magnus has kind of come into popularity, I would guess. I don't know if it's because of Basically Unknown, but I like to think that it is to a certain degree.
I was going to say, it feels very Basically Unknown-y.
Yeah, but I mean, because that's the first team that we saw really run it. And it's not to say that other people haven't done it in the past. It's just that they're the ones who ran it really well, made people realize how strong the farming combination of just having it in power and a Phantom Assassin on your team can actually be. So I think between those two heroes, Game Online have already solidified themselves a pretty solid late game. We talk about having the potential to win at any point, and I know you're desperately trying to get your screen to work right now, so that's why you're not saying anything.
Fixed it. No.
But we're good. Right. Okay, well, it was fixed for a second.
It's all right. We can look from your screen, Draskell. So anyway,
Trademarked.
picked on the side of Vega. They're picking Rubik. You're a big fan of the Rubik, and Rubik picked up against a Magnus and a PA. I guess there's a few nice spells there for him to grab.
It is really nice, but it's also kind of scary to play Rubik against PA in general, just because if the PA jumps on you, it's very hard for anyone to peel, especially if she has BKB a little bit later on. So we'll see how he's able to function in that situation. They're even going to go for a disruptor, so they really are focusing on trying to go for these isolation kills and being able to zone whatever offlaner Vega are going to be picking, because their team is kind of greedy in the sense that the Mag needs a blink, and that PA might not need a ton of farm, but since right now Vega are missing some burst, we could be seeing some kind of offensive offlaner. I wouldn't even mind seeing like Phoenix or a support Zeus coming out from them.
Or for the side of Game Online?
No, for Vega.
For Vega, I mean, talking about Game Online's potential on the off lane, the Morphling is still in the pool.
Yeah, but they don't have anything to partner with it this time.
Yeah.
Like they won't be able to pick Skywrath because they took it out. Vega took it out.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of knocked out the Morphling.
Yeah, I
mean,
you could still do it if you wanted to just do it like into a disruptor storm, for example. But yeah, Vega are going to go for the Zeus. So I kind of figured they would against Mag. It's just such a common pick, and you can just run the Zeus as a support. You don't need it to be a carry.
Okay, and the Morphling will still come out. I mean, you said there's not anything to set up with it.
Into Static Storm, it's okay. Like it's not that bad. And you could still even, you could put it in a solo lane, and maybe if he has like really good farm, he could transition instead of going for the support and just play it as a normal carry. But having a 4-second stun is still great against Queen and Troll. Like those are the two heroes that you really want to make sure that are fully locked down. Although it does give Rubik another really nice target to spell steal from, because if you get Morph, you can morph to full strength. And if you get Adaptive Strike,
well, Rubik, of course, yeah,
if you get his Adaptive Strike when you morph to full strength, you have his stun, which is ridiculous. So there is a possibility for some next level plays to happen here.
Now, for the final pick for the side of Vega Squadron, by the looks of it, if it is going to be this core Zeus in the mid lane against the Magnus, they do still need another support. And of course, a support that works very nicely against the Morphling is the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, it's not too bad. They might go with something like Abaddon instead, though.
Okay.
I think that it's nicer to be able to just straight up remove the stun as opposed to just disrupt, because disruption can set up the disruptor for another combo. So like if you disrupt the hero who gets stunned, he can just like field and do that on top. So I figured, they banned the Abaddon in the last phase. Okay, so they kind of figured that was coming. But it is possible that they could still go for the SD. I just don't know if that's going to be the case, because I actually am leaning more towards this potentially being a support and they just last pick an off lane. But we'll see. They could do both.
It's going to be Undying. So they're going to go potentially
I guess it's Queen Undying offlane?
Just what, dual laning it?
Yeah, it's gonna. I think it's 2-1-2, like Undying Queen and then Troll, Rubik, and then Zeus mid. That's my guess.
Okay, now final pick for the side of Game Online. They do still need another support then to match up with the Disruptor. I mean, who do you kind of feel would be kind of nice in this lane with the old Disruptor PA? I mean, what about AA?
AA is really nice. It's good for being able to get big combo plays, if that's what you're going for. Also gives you some valuable deep push. But they would also kind of lack initiation. I feel like Game Online, like running multiple initiators. You could even, well, Sand King might be too greedy, because then you just get completely punished by the Undying Queen pick.
Pick yourself up a... Oh, Wish Dogs has been banned out. Okay, I mean, is there anyone else that kind of stands out to you as being a nice kind of combo pick with these guys?
It's a tough spot, I think, for Game Online to pick a last hero, because if they're anticipating the aggressive dual lane, they're probably thinking how they're going to deal with that. Because if it's just PA Disruptor top, that lane gets smashed by Queen Undying.
What about getting themselves a Dazzle?
Yeah, Dazzle isn't too bad. It's a nice way to be able to sustain against the potential aggro lane coming out from Vega. But I don't know if it really... I don't know, man. This is a tough spot for Game Online. I really don't know what I would pick in this situation. It's not very often that you run into a draft where you're like, what do I pick to make this actually work? Because right now I feel like Excalibur's in the same position that we are, thinking, what in the hell am I actually going to pick right now? Because I feel like Vega's lanes are going to be better no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as soon as you kind of see an Undying come in.
Yeah, Dazzle. Good call.
Gotta go with the Dazzle. And I guess, I mean, as you were saying, that probably is just so they can deal with a potentially very aggressive lane coming out. And with Mag and Solo on the top and Undying,
it is dual off lane.
It's the good old combo. So, I mean, the trial-in will be what we expect to be the PA with the Disruptor and the Dazzle. I mean, do you feel that's a strong enough trial-in to deal with this aggression that's going to come out from the side of the Radiant?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The biggest thing they have to be concerned about when you're playing up against an Undying is don't stack on top of each other, because the decay spam is what actually kills the tri-lane. So if you have like 2 or 3 people get hit by a decay, he steals 4 times or 3 times the strength that he would normally. And that just means that he's too tanky to take down. But if he ever gets out of position, or Mag gets out of position, glimpsing the Queen after a blink can be almost an assured kill, as long as they fully commit, kill him straight away, and then kill a Tombstone. So they have to be very precise in how they want to try to go for any aggression here. If the Rubik also goes top, and it just ends up being like a solo Zeus and a solo solo troll, then it would be a little bit different. But I think they'll probably just 2-1-2. The heroes are too experience hungry to put a tri-lane, I think, together.
I mean, we talked, I actually believe, in a game the other week about the interaction with, obviously, Disruptor and Queen of Pain, and the fact how the Blink and the Glimpse range work. I believe the Disruptor has to have at least 3 points in the Glimpse to be able to catch a Quap if she blinks the maximum range, though, which is...
But a lot of people short their blinks. I mean, let's be honest.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of really shoddy blink work here at the ASUS ROG DreamLeague, so... If he doesn't blink properly, you can still glimpse him with like level 2, but it's still difficult, of course. Okay. And I think that Game Online are onto the whole dual offlane thing and just want to try to dodge as hard as humanly possible, which is the right decision. Like, you don't want to go up against the dual lane of Vega. And since Vega are less likely to break their dual lanes, as their heroes need a lot of experience, they could just ignore the rotation from Game Online, unless they feel like sending solo down there is the best option, which is probably what will end up happening.
Well, let's have a look what we've got coming out from these both sides. So this is, of course, the third game of this best of 3 between the sides of Vega and Game Online. Over on the side of the Radiant, we're going to have Seema the Slayer on the Rubik. It's going to be 9 Pasha Bashu again on the Troll Warlord. No one will be on the mid lane, Zeus, and up on this top lane, you're going to have Mag on the Quap and Solo next to him on the Undying. I'm OD Pixel, I'm here with Draskell, and Draskell, what are we seeing coming out from the Dire?
All right, so first off, we have our new stand-in E-Skills, who's going to have to be really careful that he doesn't just die. He will get his hands on the bounty rune here. We're going to have Dazzle next, being played by Pelican. Behind him is going to be ROG, playing on the Phantom Assassin. Will be Excalibur. Sorry, Disruptor is ROG. Excalibur is the PA. And then last but not least, we have Zinz in the bottom lane, who's going to be playing as a Morphling.
Okay. I mean, in terms of kind of initial thoughts when you're looking at the draft, is anyone that kind of comes out on top? Obviously, notable kind of hero player matchups. It's got to be Zinz, of course, on his almost signature Morphling here at the DreamLeague. We've seen him do a lot of work on it before. Cool. And we're getting a sorry straight away.
Yeah, he made some pretty questionable plays in mid, so I'm guessing his keyboard or mouse or something are messed up. Because he basically just walked into the Zeus and took like three zaps to the face and just kind of was like, okay.
I mean, it's fortunate that he has got the bottle on his way, otherwise, yeah, that wouldn't be too great for the Magnus here. But yeah, in terms of draft straight outright, is there anyone that you kind of feel you're kind of favoring towards in terms of drafting?
I think that Game Online will have a pretty significant advantage during the mid game, but I think Vega's lanes are better. So the laning phase, I can't really see Vega losing them too hard. The nice thing about Game Online's composition, though, is that because of the Morphling, like, they don't need to win their lanes because of how the hero functions. So it's, again, it's all about the experience for him. If he can get the Tranquils up and a Soul Ring, that's fine. But he needs to be careful bottom. He'll be forced to wave out.
Top lane, Solo going hand to hand with Pelican. We'll just exchange hits. I mean, in terms of this kind of aggressive dual lane, do you feel they'll be able to shut down Excalibur's farm that much here?
It will be contested, but probably not a lot. I mean, it just depends. If they end up getting some kills, Solo can snowball so hard against these types of tri-lanes. Like, having the Grave is nice to keep people alive longer if you're diving under the tower. But if Solo gets a couple of nice decays, gets a tombstone down, it's very possible that he just kind of steamrolls over everybody and there's not really much you're going to be able to do. At the very least, Mag will still farm decently because he's ranged, and the supports are very hesitant to try to harass Mag when they Undying standing there.
And I mean, looking at the offlane, respectively, for the side of Game Online, Morphling, a hero that's going to be looking to just pretty much get the levels out of this lane. A hero that we obviously talk about on the fact that he can be very effective with very little farm. He just needs to get himself pretty much the solo Soul Ring and Blink Dagger on top's nice. Top lane, a bit of harassment going down onto Pelican. The Tombstone will be dropped as well as Solo begins to dive the tower for this one. Pelican, he's only level 1, doesn't have the shallow grave. Excalibur trying to find a kill and return onto Mag. The first blood is claimed by Undying here, but he might pay with his life. The Tombstone Zombies doing quite a bit of work. It's ROG and Excalibur looking for the right clicks here onto Solo. There's going to be a glimpse back onto Mag, trying to hold him away from Excalibur, but Excalibur actually walks straight into him, takes the decay to the face, now will blink backwards. Blink forward from Mag, trying to find this bit of a mess here. It looks like Excalibur finds himself a kill in return onto the Undying. Mag, will he be able to get away from this one? Zeroji's claritying up, but he won't have the glimpse again. The cooldown's going to be a little bit too long to do anything at this stage of the game, and Mag should be able to blink away. Yeah, he's going to be fine in this situation. So 1-for-1 trade. Vega get first blood, but the side of Game Online, they do get a kill on their Phantom Assassin.
Yeah, but they had to use a ton of regen for that as well. Like, they had to pool a lot to Excalibur to make sure that he could get back into fighting shape. And the support still got one salve, I think. Zeroji has one and one tango. But that just goes to show how strong Undying is, like in a dual lane situation. That was level 1 Tombstone and level 1 Decay. So the more levels that he gets in this lane, they have a reason to be scared in this situation. And the PA only with 10 last hits at 3 minutes. For a safe lane farmer, that's not amazing. Like, the Troll has 15, which doesn't sound like a huge lead, but it's 50 or 33% more last hits, basically. Like, that's pretty good.
It's not bad at all, 3 minutes into the game. Mid lane, the Magnus isn't doing that bad. I guess the shockwave spam always going to help you find the farm, but Zeus isn't necessarily shutting him down to any extent at this point.
Yeah, you don't really shut down either hero in this matchup. Like, the Zeus zaps, the Magnus shockwaves, life goes on. Like, there's no real stopping somebody from getting farm. Maybe eventually, no one will get enough levels to be able to just start using Lightning Bolt spam to zone out the Mag, but it's pretty uncommon for the Mag to just be in a lane where he can't do anything at all. And E-Skills is, I think, somebody who has quite a bit of experience playing Mag, so I'm sure he'll be more than fine.
Okay, and about 4 minutes in, the farm continues, favoring the Surge of the Radiant with the Troll and the Zeus at the top. And yeah, now with the Soul Ring, the spam's going to be there even more here for the Zeus in the mid lane, trying to control this Magnus. In terms of kind of item build for the PA, looking at what he's up against, is this a game where you do need to kind of contemplate getting a very early BKB? Do you feel like Excalibur might go for the Battle Fury? Is that pointless thing? Has he got the Empower available? What's going to be the go-to here for him?
Well, we might have to hold that thought.
Oh, indeed, yeah. Dagger from the Queen of Pain going on to the Dazzle, but Dagger from Excalibur going on to Mag. Mag, he's actually blinked in aggressively here, so he won't be able to get out. One more Thunder Strike here will do the job. Pelican heals himself up. Oh. Very nice Thunder God's Wrath there, getting both the Disruptor and the Dazzle. So it is effectively a 2-for-1. Excalibur will remain alive, but Solo, maybe thinking about diving this one. I mean, the creep wave's going to be coming in with him as well. Excalibur.
He needs Queen.
Yeah, I guess there's not enough damage there. And Zinz had to go back to base as well, getting very low with that, well, the aggression that was coming out from both the Troll and the Rubik in the lane. So yeah, item builds for Excalibur. What could we expect to see this game?
I would imagine he goes something standard, like maybe he treads Aquila, maybe he goes for a Dominator, maybe he goes for a Basher as well. I don't know if early BKB is really the choice. He is still pretty difficult to kill. It's just that the supports are the fodder of this lane. So the Disruptor and the Dazzle are the two that Solo and Mag always try to focus on, because killing Excalibur is still pretty annoying. Like, poor man shield and 20% evasion and 6 base armor is pretty hard when you compare that to like 2 base armor and 500 HP. So he'll be fine, I think, for farming. He can just start using his dagger spam. But yeah, I don't think he'll go for a super fast BKB. Second or third item, most likely. I
mean, say we get to the mid game and it's you know, fairly even and the PA is becoming a threat. Does the Troll need to kind of prioritize building an MKB in his item progression this game?
Yeah, you will need one. That's kind of the problem that he's going to run into is you want the SNY, you want the Dominator to be able to kill Roche, and then after that, you kind of think about, do I want to go Scotty or do I want to go MKB?
Oh, mid lane is skill. Popping down an RP and a skewer here. He has got a backup of Zinz, and with that Adaptive Strike, they're going to be able to find themselves a kill. Nice. Very nice rotation there from the Morphling. And in a situation where his skill was getting very low, Zeus almost certainly thought he had an easy kill there. But yeah, Zinz's rotation absolutely on point there.
Now those kills are really important too. Like, keeping the Zeus down is big. because he's gotten like that double kill from the ulti in bottom. So ROG.
Indeed, we'll glimpse back the Troll, but B goes down there, and Troll says thanks for the kill, boys. And nice little pick off there with the help of the Rubik. And, well, Magnus has got his Arcanes now, 6.5 minutes in. And the farm continues to go very well, though, for both the Troll and the Zeus. It's just sitting on top of the board. Zeus pretty much even with the Magnus, though, in this mid lane. And PA's farm just a little bit behind, but she's still, Excalibur's still having a great time in lane.
It doesn't matter that his farm's behind right now. Like, simply put, if the Mag has even an okay game, starts getting some points into Empower, all it takes is one good team fight, and you get your crits, you get a good couple of cleaves in, and you just win. And all of a sudden you get a Battle Fury, or maybe you don't go Battle Fury at all and just opt to go for like the Basher Dominator build, which I think is also equally good in this situation. There's a lot of methods that Game Online can recover, so they're not too concerned if the PA is struggling a bit. I
mean, talking about the Magnus getting the Empower to help out the PA here, but at the moment we see the Magnus with no points in it, has 2 in the Shockwave. Do you kind of just leave that at 2? Do you feel, sorry, 2 in the Skewer? Do you feel you just leave 2 in the Skewer and then now put points into the Empower to help?
That's what most people do.
Yeah.
They leave the Skewer at 2, because the first rank is pretty short. Oh, middle lane.
Middle lane, Skewer forward as well, just to get the slow, and with the Shockwave damaging the right clicks, is it going to be enough? He's going to bottle through it, and no one will get out. There's going to be a couple of TPs coming in. They do find the telekinesis onto E-Skill, and the dagger and the lightning bolt as well. They find themselves a kill in return there. So very nice reaction from the side of Vega, helping them to pick off the enemy mid.
Yeah, that was a really quick reaction from Sima. And I really like the fact that he was also the first one to TP, because had it been anyone else, like anyone else TPing first, that Mag would have gotten away, because the TP time would have been too long and he wouldn't have been in range to lift. So nice communication there from Vega, letting the Rubik TP first, and no one gets a regen. And that's awesome. And that sounds really confusing when you say it that way.
It does when you say no one. He's not got the easiest.
I mean, he is a person, but no one gets it.
But he's no one.
Yeah.
He is no one indeed. And, well, Troll with the phase boots in the helm. He's getting to the point where he can contemplate doing Roshan. He's going to stick in the jungle for a bit, maybe look to see if he can find the Yasha first before.
This one should actually be a lot easier to get for him as well.
Yeah.
Like, this Roshan is a... Unless he gets skewered up to the high ground or something clowny like that, shouldn't be that hard. Just take, like, one fight and you could probably Rosh off that.
I mean, Zinz, he's a little bit aware of something potentially going on already. He's having a quick look into the pit, just seeing if Troll's up to any kind of funky business now, coming up to the 9-minute mark. And PA Excalibur, with his farmways, I believe he picked up the treads. And I mean, treads or fate, well, they're obviously boots that we see both come out in the PA. Is there a reason why you go for one over the other?
Because of the aggressive nature of the lane is probably why he bought treads. Just being able to like tread switch with his passive for getting CS, and of course the fact that if you have treads you have more health, and survivability in the form of HP is the best kind of survivability against a lane who doesn't have to right click you to kill you. And I think that's pretty much the primary reasoning behind it. And plus, if you get lifesteal, it's actually quite a bit easier to jungle with treads. I think it's a little bit faster than having phase, and you don't really want to be spamming your blink to try to CS in the woods for getting the attack speed, because it costs too much mana. So.
Okay, fair enough indeed. I mean, the side of Game Online, they've got a fair few heroes up here, trying to make something happen here against the aggressive nature that we're talking about of the side of Vega. Now, Undying, he could be in, well, a lot of trouble here. Takes an adaptive strike to the face. The crit's coming through. They're going to go for the tombstone itself first. Solo with the soul up, keeping himself alive. There's the tombstone going down. Mag comes in with a very nice sonic wave, bringing both Pelican and Zinz fairly low. They do find the kill onto Solo, and well, Quap is able to blink back and get herself out of that fight. Thundergro's Wrath comes out to hold them back, but isn't able to kind of find any kills. But all in all, Game Online find themselves a pick-off, but they do commit the full roster for it.
Yeah, that was a 5-hero fight. And that was only Queen and Undying, and they still almost got the Dazzle. Had the ulti been maybe a bit sooner, they might have killed Pelican. Hard to say, though, because I think he got another Shadow Wave off before the Grave, so... Or before the Grave actually expired, he got another Shadow Wave, so he probably had enough health to live regardless. But the amount of room that these two offlaners are making, like even though Solo ends up dying, they had 5 heroes come up to that lane. Like, Steema's been able to sit down here bottom. He's doing his farming thing. The Troll has had his Dominator for a while. He's farming the woods. So every time they have this point of contention where Excalibur is being kind of hassled in lane, they have to commit a lot just to being able to stop that kind of aggression.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 5-4, the farm indeed certainly favouring the side of the Radiant, even though Game Online do find the occasional kill hits. It's looking good for the side of Vega. I mean, in terms of the game going late, I mean, Troll versus the PA, is there a clear winner?
Well, I think it kind of depends on RNG. Like, if you get some good crits, the PA wins. if you don't crit and the troll bashes, the troll wins. Often people would say that if the troll gets MKB, the matchup becomes pretty skewed in favor of the troll, because it's like, for whatever reason, it seems more likely that you're going to get bashed to death than you would actually like crit and actually kill the troll. So I don't know. I would probably say troll, maybe if he gets an MKB.
Okay, now, I mean, Excalibur with his items so far has the God Quelling Blade, Morbid Mask, just heading into the jungle looking for some farm, allowing the Disruptor to get himself some XP in lane, trying to find the level 6 here for the Disruptor. But Solo and Mag, they are continuing to keep on the pressure. And I mean, Solo and Mag, they've been kind of a little bit stale in terms of lane movement. They've stuck around here on the top lane. They haven't really looked for any kinds of rotations. Is their aim just to kind of get the tier 1, and then do you think we'll start seeing the Quap and Undying move around the map, or do they just kind of sit in lane and keep the pressure on constantly?
Yeah, they only want to pressure. They're just sitting here to make sure that Excalibur doesn't have a free lane. Like, just by their presence, even in a matchup where they're outnumbered in heroes, they have kept Excalibur down in net worth by about 1,700 comparative to the troll. At 12 minutes in, that's like 100 and some odd GPM lost just by them existing here. And they got first blood. So I would say this offlane has already accomplished what they needed it to. And plus, since they already have Queen for burst and he's almost level 8, he's got his full combo almost available to be able to fight during the mid game. So I think that Vega's lanes have worked out okay. Maybe not perfectly, but they had to pick a Dazzle and Tri-Lane against those two heroes just to make sure they could win the lanes. So I feel like it was more of an adaptation from Game Online to make sure that they didn't just get rolled over in the first 15 minutes, that they had to do that. So in a way, I'd call that a win.
Skills looking for some action here with this haste rune, does have the RP available. Quite close the gap here on either the Mag, so the Undying or the Quap. But I mean, yeah, if the game kind of stales out towards this point, as we go into the mid game, I mean, the Troll versus the PA is... Oh, well, Zin's getting telekinesis. Yeah, the Fate Bolt and Lightning Bolt will be enough there to find themselves a quick and easy kill there onto the Morphling. Excalibur coming in. Throws a dagger out. E-skill will find Rubik, and well, Excalibur's coming in to join the party as well. Empower gets thrown down onto the PA. Adaptive Strike holding Excalibur back with the Fate Bolt, bringing him low, but the Dazzle heals now. Oh, the Thunder God's Wrath actually finding the kill onto the PA,
wow.
And triple kill as no one on the Zeus just turns up and zaps them all to death. And what is the triple kill?
That Adaptive Strike steal, man. It came in huge. He stunned the PA. He actually even Adaptive Struck the Morphling back to make sure that no one could get both of those kills and then into an ulti, which is very nicely played all around by the Rubiks. So we talked about how frustrating it could be to get your spell stolen, and that wasn't even like max strength. So I think the stun can be longer than that if he gets more strength. So he needs to steal Morph somehow. And then he'll have to buy an armor item because he'll have 0 armor. But Rubik only has 2 armor anyway, so who cares?
That is true, and I mean, for what it's worth, the RG points versus the strength points to provide the health, is it worth to have more in the strength than in the RG?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for the amount of armor it gives. Oh, RP onto the mid lane. Better follow it up with the Skewer. Zinz is there with an Adaptive Strike, holding Zeus in place. The ROG's here as well, throws down the Static Storm. They really want this guy dead, and well, he will die. But quite a bit committed for that, RP and Static Storm.
I'd call that pretty dead. Like, moderately to severely dead, maybe. But yeah, in terms of strength versus agi morph, like, it's 7 agi to 1 armor. Yeah. And each strength is 19 health. So it's quite a bit. Like, it's 63 plus you get the 10 health per, so it's like 100 and some odd health versus 1 armor. It's definitely worth.
Gonna steal the Adaptive Strike here, and gonna turn a little bit of his own magic onto himself there. Zin's getting low, will be able to zip out with the waveform. And well, Zeus is still dead for 12 seconds. The Thunder God's Wrath might have finished him off there, but Morphling's going to be able to survive this one.
Yeah, it's like 153 health versus 1 armor. I'd say that's worth it every single time. But if you have a lot of health, it's very cool to be able to just buy like a chainmail, and then your effective HP goes up quite a bit.
Have a glimpse. Mag's in a lot of trouble here. We'll get Glimpse back. He's going to try and TP out. Where's your crit? Come on, we need a crit. We need a crit. Doesn't find it there. Oh, he finds it on the creep. Just after the Quap's gone. So a little bit unfortunate there for Excalibur.
Yeah, that was not what he was looking for, but he is opting for the standard build. Like, he's got his poor man's treads, his Dominator, and probably what's going to be an Aquila, I would imagine. Or maybe he just leaves it like that for a while. Just goes for something else. E-skills, just randomly skewering.
A bit of random skewer there through the tower, and blink forward from no one. Getting down to half health. Adaptive Strike coming in from the sidelines onto the Zeus. Tombstone's dropped there, and they're going to try and commit for the tower here, the side of the Radiant. They've got the full 5-man here, piling on the pressure in the mid lane. Nothing coming forward. There's another Adaptive Strike onto Bashu. 4.25 seconds every 10 seconds. I'll take that. But it looks like they will still lose the tier 1 here in the mid lane, as the troll is able to clear that one up.
And no one is scared. He's not scared at all. Like, he just goes in. He's like, yo, I'm going to come in, I'm going to zap, and that's just how it's going to be. And honestly, Game Online have not really tried to deal with him that much. He will blink away from his skills here. Very close to potentially getting RP'd into his skewer. But yeah, all the tier 1s being dead opens up the opportunity for Roshan if they can ever find a good fight. But let's not ever forget that PA, almost level 11, when he gets that level 2 ultimate, the crits can just end the fight if the RP is there. So yeah, it's very, very scary.
With this Empower, you should be able to clear out these Ancients and pretty much get that level 11 online. Zeus, his farm is certainly looking very good. He's got Bloodstone Blink at the 17-minute mark, not bad at all. And oh, hello, E-skill takes it up to strike and a sonic way to the face, tries to get out of the RP. He'll actually die before it's fully cast, and now Pelican on the retreat here. Tombstone will get dropped, trying to heal himself and Excalibur back up. Adaptive Strike again. Not a spell you want to get stolen by this Rubik, because Rubik's having an absolute field day here with the Adaptive Strike.
There's just Adaptives everywhere. Can't even tell which one's which anymore. Zinz might get caught out here. He will go to his replicate though. Nicely done. So I think we found another way to counter the Morphling.
Yeah,
you pick Rubik and you steal it. It's very annoying.
And I guess obviously the mana pool of the Rubik allows you to play with it a lot more than a Morphling does.
Yeah, I mean the Rubik is nice because you can actually have more of an impact against the Magnus as well. Because your presence in the fight means that the Mag feels very hesitant to try to drop his ulti unless he catches you in it. So, and he's playing against the Zeus. So the Mag has like a crazy hard game. Where the Rubik is just like, oh yeah, I'll just steal this spell, everything's fine.
Zeus wave forming in.
Oh,
tries to go for the steal and for the flashy plays. It's not going to work, he's dead. And well, Magnus, I know he's there. They're going to be able to chase this one down, Vega. They're heading up to the secret shop. I'm Pasha Ibasha leading the way on the troll, but now the side of Game Online, they do back straight out. But 11 for 6 for the moment. They started the Radiant also getting the Roshan. I mean, this is kind of looking like the first game where Vega are just playing that little bit better than the side of Game Online.
Well, I think their draft is a lot nicer this time around too. Like the lane setup was really solid. They made it so there was no rotation between top and any other lane due to Solo and Mag just being up there being a general nuisance. They get the first blood because their composition is really strong, even as a dual lane. And like with no rotations, the Zeus free farms mid. Like Mag did end up losing that lane. Like Magnus didn't really end up doing super well up against the Zeus, and now no one is like second highest on net worth. The troll is highest on net worth. They get Roshan. Everything has kind of just spiraled out of control. If you're Game Online, you haven't really been able to control much, and that's the other reason why the Dazzle pick kind of feels a bit one-sided. Like it only really functions in one purpose, and that's to try to win your lane. And when your team has to react to your pick that way and pick something super defensive, unless you had a game plan based around the Dazzle in the first place, I would say that forcing them to pick the Dazzle was actually a really good thing. Because what does that Dazzle do right now? Like, what is he offering to the team? He can weave.
I think he's shallow graved himself a few times.
But that's what I mean. Like, he doesn't do anything else. He's waiting for the PA to get farm. And until the PA gets farm, like, they're going to be looking to probably defend high ground, I guess. Like, defending at tier 2 right now feels even a bit far-fetched. Unless the RP is, like, 4 or 5 men. And then, yeah, you can turn that because you have Disruptor and you have Empower on your PA. It's not that they can't win. It's just that, for now, the map control is clearly in favor of Vega. So much so that it's going to be very difficult for them to try to stem the tide, I think.
Certainly seems to feel that way. 11-6. I think we just see the net worth come up, and it's about a 14,000 difference at the moment, which is
pretty significant considering it's only 19 minutes in.
I mean, yeah, and XP is about coming up to 12k as well. It
doesn't feel like that much.
It doesn't feel like that much, does it? I guess
well,
you just look at the troll and the Zeus's farm, though, and you know the net worth that they've got between them is so much more than the cores on the side of Game Online. And now up to the high ground. There will be an illusion coming up from Zinz onto the Troll Warlord to hold the high ground for the time being. And well, looks like Vega, they don't want to try and force the issue yet. They're setting up to the top lane. Mag trying to find some farm. He's pretty much got the Orchid, just a few hundred gold away from picking up that recipe. And Undying is on his own here.
Nah, he's fine. He's just gonna walk it off. Alright, he's dead.
Solo? I mean, was there a plan?
That's like the second time today he's done that, by the way.
Was there a plan there, or?
Yeah, he was solo.
I mean...
he has to live up to his name. You can't just, like... At some point in the game, you're gonna have to be dead, and you're gonna have to be alone. Otherwise, you can't call yourself solo.
I suppose.
No, I actually have no idea what he was doing. That was like completely ridiculous. I don't even know why he was there. I feel like sometimes he's just like looking at a second monitor and not actually playing the game. And then he just looks at his screen and he's like, oh crap, no one's here. And then he's dead.
Let's put the arm up, let's try and walk it off. That didn't happen. And well, he's dead off the back of that. Game Online just pushed the lane back out and probably be able to get themselves a tier 1 here.
Yeah, there will be a relatively early BKB now on Excalibur too.
Troll. He wants to give it
He's
a
got
go.
Aegis at least.
He's going to need it. I mean, Adaptive Strike and Excalibur coming in with the crits, bringing Troll very, very low, and they do pop the Aegis. Thundergross Wrath will come out from the Zeus, but on his side, though, he's back in the fight. Okay, RP from his skill, holding Pashi Basho in place. Mag blinking forward. Oh, Sonic Wave. Oh, Excalibur's able to TP out, and only the Disruptor to fall so far. They're trying to chase down Zinz in. This is a pretty speedy trolling, but with the silence there from the Orchid, they find 1 kill, they find 2 kill, and now they're going to be able to find 3 kill there. As double kill there for the Zeus as they clear up the Dazzle as well.
The stolen adaptive is doing more work than the actual adaptive of Morphling because Seema has a blink. So he just blinks in, uses the stolen adaptive, win game.
So all in all, the play from Solo potentially trying to lull them into a false sense of security.
It was a bait.
Yeah,
It was a ruse.
A really premature bait.
Yeah.
It was, wanted to get them into mindset of, we'll push a tower here. It'll be easy. They did get the tower, but they lose 4 heroes for it.
It's next level, dude. It's like a... I'm not even on that tier of strategy.
Well, they claim a tier 2 in the mid lane. There's only the tier 2 remaining on the top, and lucky for them, the creep waves in their favor here, approaching the tier 2 anyway, so they should be able to join that, and almost certainly we'll find this final tier 2 here. And Zeus, I can't remember the last game I saw Zeus do this. He's building an Aghanims, Andy.
Yeah, that one kind of puzzles me, actually. Because normally if you have Bloodstone, you just go Refresher if you're looking for sheer damage output. But you only make Aghanims in a situation where you feel like you're not tanky enough. I feel like he's tanky enough. Like just having the extra point booster on top of Bloodstone, he's got 1900 health. Like, sure, I'm not saying the Aghanims is bad. It does a lot of damage. Like, Aghanims, Zeus ulti level 16. I mean, he's 22 minutes in, so the damage of it's going to be ridiculous.
How come we do see Ag so rarely on a Zeus in kind of competitive?
Because most Zeuses nowadays go for Bloodstone first, which means you always have the mana pool for Refresher, like no matter what. Even if you go Refresher second item, you can still use the Refresher and ulti. But before that, like, it's more damage to go Refresher. Like flat out, it's just more. Because 2 ultis for base value is still more damage in a team fight than just going for 1 Aghanims ulti. But if you go for Aghanims and Refresher, then it doesn't really matter. But the order that you get them in, I think, if you just had Refresher right now on the Zeus instead of Aghanims, he would just be able to straight up slay. Like, everyone would die. And I think it's 1275 mana for Refresher ulti. And as soon as he picks up the Aghanims, he just pops it and he scouts the smoke. What a god. Like, well, not a god anymore, he's immortal, but honestly, what a god for being able to scout that like that.
Yeah, he's on his own down now. I'm sure he'll be TPing out of this one. And the Zeus, is he TPing? Is he going? He's chilling around here. Yeah, he's waiting for the TP to come off cooldown. Blinks further into the tree line, though, make sure he's not going to be discovered here by the push coming out from Game Online. I mean, even when a Zeus picks up a Refresher, we don't really see them go for an Aghanims on top of it. Is it just because at that point of the game, there's just going to be bigger items such as the Scythe and such? They're just going to be more
A lot
impactful.
of people favor Dagon or E-Blade because it buffs your single target damage. And Zeus already does so much AoE just by having the Refresher in his inventory. So say, for instance, you go like Bloodstone, Refresher, Dagon, which is what I think Hani did in one of the previous matches. But when you do that build, your burst on single target is insane because you can bolt, arc, ulti, Dagon, refresh, do that again.
Zeus?
He's fine.
He's fine. Whoa!
Cancel cast there.
Indeed, a bit of a cancel cast, but just scare the Zeus back off. And I mean, 24 minutes in, what's Excalibur got on himself? What are we seeing? What are we seeing? Was he managed to farm up on that PA? Did have the BKB, anything on top? 1200 gold coming up as well. So I mean, with just the BKB, if he gets a few lucky crits, I mean, he's still going to hit pretty hard in these fights.
Yeah, it's the luxury of having a mag. You don't necessarily need to have a damage item to be able to hit hard. He does have level 4 Empower, so yeah, all things considered, I honestly think that Game Online are still in this. It's looking pretty grim, but all it takes is 1 or 2 good RPs, and that's it. Like, the game is on at that point.
Online, would you say?
Yes. Game Online. You're right. You're right.
25 minutes.
How did I not see that one coming? I don't even. It's late, okay? It's past midnight.
It is, isn't it? It's
yeah, it's 12:15 or 12:18 or something.
Wow. But we're sticking through it here with the final game between these two sides. It's, I mean, look at the net worth difference. It's 25,000.
It's completely insane. And normally I would say that a team with disadvantage almost couldn't lose. But against Mag and against PA, you can still lose.
I mean, you got to look at the Charles farm though. You know, he's got the phase, BKB, Yasha, Helm, and he's
got MKB and
he's got MKB.
Yeah, he's got it now. But I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter if you have BKB because RP and crits will go through your BKB.
Okay.
And even if you only catch like 1 or 2, if you stop the push, that's enough. Like, you just need to stop the push. The next Roshan, that's another story, because I don't know if they'll be able to contest that. But defending the high ground is something that Game Online's team does very well. You have Adaptive Strike spam, you have Weave, you have RP. My god, that ulti hits so hard. Holy, it took almost everyone to half HP.
That's the delights of a Zeus there.
Okay, so if he gets a refresher, they lose. Like, they just lose the game.
I mean, well, let's have a look at the Zeus. Does he actually manage to start building anything after the Aghanims?
Yeah, he's got a Perseverance. Yeah. So he is going refresher now. But that's the kind of impact that a free farm Zeus can have. And that's why I was so confused that Hani didn't go refresher in the game earlier. Because I think they would have just been able to end that game if he had refresher instead of Dagon. Sometimes it's better to burst. Sometimes it's better to just kill 2 heroes before the fight even starts. I think that's the strength that a Zeus is meant to give you during the mid-late game.
Excalibur found Mag, but Mag's going to blink away. And there is the Yules now picked up here on the Morphling, so we're going to be able to see this very kind of long-range initiation with the waveform, and obviously the Yules range, and then following up with the adaptive strike. So they're going to be able to lock down essentially one of these heroes in these fights. I mean, who do you kind of like? Is it the Zeus? I guess the Troll's got the BKB, so it's going to be a very hard target to catch out. I guess if you're able to shut down the Zeus...
is never going to be caught, though. That's the problem.
Just stay at the back of the fight.
Yeah, because the Zeus can stay so far out. He never has to commit. He can just wait for his Troll to get initiated on and then start trying to deal damage based off that. Because if he goes in for an RP on the Troll alone, that could be one thing that you probably couldn't get away with doing. Like, you need to try to catch 2 minimum, I think.
We do see the Basher coming out now on the PA, so Excalibur's still finding his farm. He is 5,000 behind the net worth of this Troll. But, I mean, as you said, if we see a good RP into a good Static Storm...
Dude, 5k net worth, 1 fight.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yes, but at this point, when you're this kind of this distance behind, you kill 2-3 heroes...
He's got his first damage item, though, too. So the PA now has Basher. So with Basher, he just gets the opportunity to splat somebody.
We're going to do the classic old Smokeroo, as they are aware that, of course, the Thunderbolt's Wrath has already come down, and this could be the fight that they're looking for. They're going to go into the Roche pit, the side of Vega Squadron. Where's your Magnus? Is he going to be able to find an RP? Blinks in RP just onto 1, because that blink out just in time, as Vega will try and fight up against it. Massive shockwave. The stolen RP catches them all. Triple kill. It's going to be just the Morphling left alive. He tries to get away. He'll get zapped down by the Undying with the Soul Rift. What an RP steal there from the Rubik. Fantastic play, and they're going to get Roshan off the back of it as well here, Vega Squadron.
That's game. That's also why I said contesting Roshan is very difficult. Because even if you get an RP, the Rubik can always stand 10 miles away. Seema stole the RP immediately. E-Skills was really close to being able to shockwave before the steal came in, but Seema was a little bit too fast, and yeah, that's Rax, probably.
Oh boy. Now up to the high ground, now onto the tier 3. Disruptor's back. Fortification's back.
Like, even if they buy out, they don't have RP. How are they supposed to defend? Like, they needed that RP to win a fight.
This is certainly an issue that they'll be looking for an answer to. Might not find it.
Nah, it's bad. It's real bad.
This is not ideal. And I think Game Online will be reminiscing at the time that they got Tiny and IO through the pick ban phase.
Yeah, I think that Mag was almost too necessary to perform. Like, sometimes when you pick Mag, it's okay to get like single RPs, but in this game he actually needed to RP a lot of heroes, and this Zeus is getting focused by a PA and is taking no damage whatsoever and just dies. Excalibur didn't use his BKB until he was at like 5%, and there's your GG.
GG, well played is cool, and that's it, Draskell.
Yeah, oh, he even buys a refresher as he walks to the base just to get another kill. But yeah,
wow.
The Mag was too relied upon to have a great game because the lane went so badly top. Like, even if, okay, they get 1 kill and they even kill the Undying once, that doesn't matter. The fact is, they had no way of playing aggressive. In the game that Game Online won,
Yeah.
They had the opportunity to go for picks. They had the opportunity to start fights. That's what they're good at. They're not good at playing this defensive style where they wait for the perfect moment to engage. They're just not good at it. I don't know. Like, watching basically Unknown play this style, they play it phenomenal. They find their openings whenever a team is pushing. They take a great team fight, get an RP, and they just win the game because the PA kind of snowballs out of hand. But even in the draft, 4 picks in for Vega, I'm looking at this duel offlane and I'm thinking, okay, well, they got a PA and they got a Disruptor. Those 2 heroes suck against Undying. Unless the Undying is completely alone, and the Queen pick was also there in the first 2. So I think they picked Magnus. No, not Magnus. Sorry, that was Game Online. They picked Troll Queen together.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, which is very flexible lanes, but you always figure that the Troll's going to farm. So I'm like, okay, and then they picked Undying, and I'm thinking those dual lanes are pretty solid up against the PA and the Mag, which were picked also together in the first 2. So I think Vega just knew exactly what they were going to do, and they were like, yeah, you got to react to our picks now. And suddenly this lane, sure, Excalibur farmed a bit, but he didn't have like amazing farm by any means. And even with an Empowered, he was unable to outfarm the Troll just in CS, which is very uncommon, like given these lineups. And since there's no rotations, you Zeus free farms, no one can help your offlaner. Even with the Morphling having the Adaptive Strike, the Rubik pick pretty much won them the game. Because he just stole Adaptive, got more kills with an Adaptive Strike than the Morphling did for his own team, and stole RP in the one fight where they might have had a chance to turn it around. So out-draft, outplay, out everything. Like Vega just, they did it.
Well, the game, or would you say the series as a whole?
No, this game. Yeah. Like, obviously in the series before this, I feel like Game Online overall didn't play as good as Vega did, but they should not have been allowed to get that draft.
No.
I think that was pretty obvious. So.
It certainly was after we saw them in Game 2, but indeed, overall, Vega Squadron will prevail, and they'll be able to move themselves onto the semi-finals, which I believe will be seeing them up against the winners of the first series today, Yellow Submarine. So it'll be interesting to see how Yellow Submarine match up against Vega. Obviously, Yellow Submarine surprised us with the 2-0 victory over the side of...
Wait, which teams?
Earlier today, Yellow Submarine. Who did they beat?
Good question. Caster's Curse, nobody knows.
It was a good team.
We blacked out.
It was a good team.
It was the cake.
Four Clovers and a Leprechaun. So they beat 4 Clovers and a Leprechaun, which were a good team last week when we saw them. They did really well. So the Yellow Submarine obviously playing very well to beat them, and now they're going to be up against Vega Squadron. It's going to be a hard matchup because Vega are looking very strong. Yeah, at least if they get the draft right.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit shaky still because they just recently added Solo and Mag. But as a pair, they always perform in the lane. Like, I think they played that lane pretty well. You couldn't have asked them to do more than they did getting first blood. So yeah, I think with some more time, Vega will be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, well, we'll see if that's going to be the case as we'll catch them again on Thursday with the semi-finals. But until that time, that's it from myself and Draskell here on the casting panel today. And we're going to head over to just a brief little break with our sponsor logos and then over to the host panel. So we'll catch you guys about. Have a good night.